Hey everyone, Mark Hespin here. Follow me on all social media. You know the drill, at Mark Hespin. Like and subscribe here on the YouTube channel. NFL Week 7 is upon us. I'm going to go over the 3 biggest games of the week, as well as a couple of my favorite bets. We'll call this biggest games and best bets preview into Week 7 here, just an hour before kickoff on Thursday Night Football. Thursday Night Football is not on the list. Broncos, Saints, it's going to be interesting getting to watch the rookie quarterbacks play. It'll be my first time getting to just watch Bo Nix in a full game, pressure on the road in a loud environment. So excited about that. So let's jump into it. There's 3 obvious big games. If you don't have these as your 3 biggest games, it's probably just because you're either not paying attention or you're a diehard fan of another team. It's a great week for me as a Bears fan to have a bye week because I can focus on these 3 big games. Let's start at the 5-1 Texans are at the 4-2 Packers. Green Bay is actually favored by 2.5 at home, over under 47.5. This is a huge week 7 game for the Packers at home. It's a big measuring stick game. Where are they against the best of the best in the AFC? The Texans can say the exact same thing. Huge measuring stick game. You're 5-1. Who have you really played? And this is against a team in the NFC on the road that has deep playoff expectations. Both these teams were in deep playoff runs last year, made it to the second round of the playoffs. Both these teams have young quarterbacks who they believe in. Both of these teams have a really good young wide receiver course as well, even though Nico Collins out right now, and that's a bummer for the Texans. Both these teams have really good running backs and good run games. Both these teams have good young head coaches that we kind of believe in. DeMeco Ryans' second year in, not really a sophomore slump at all so far. And obviously Matt LaFleur has been in Green Bay for a couple years now and has just performed almost every single year except for that final year with Aaron Rodgers. And I blame Aaron for that more than I do Matt. How do I feel about this game? Listen, I think the Texans are the better team. I think C.J. Stroud is going to put up numbers in this game. Listen, the Packers defense is very good. I hate that he's missing Nico Collins for this game. But I think Green Bay at home in the all-white uniforms for a noon kickoff game is such an interesting strategy. I like the Texans. I just think they're the better team in the AFC. The tougher, they're challenged. Green Bay, we've seen them at times finally now, kind of getting into the form, struggles early offensively. They were a really great run team when Jordan Love was injured. Now they're coming back, and Jordan Love is throwing the ball over the field, throwing interceptions all over the field, throwing touchdowns all over the field. I think that sloppy play could cost Green Bay this game, especially with a really good Texans team that can score. I think the Texans run the ball. I think Joe Mixon is really involved in the offense. I like the Texans in a lower scoring game. I think I'm going to take the under, and I'm going to take the Texans plus 2.5. I'll take the Texans to win 24-21, 24-20 in a really close, exciting game, and a big win for the Texans. I think they'll improve to 6-1. Packers won't have anything to be ashamed of from losing to the Texans at home, but I just think Jordan Love, the turnovers concern me. He's throwing the ball all over the field. And you just can't do that against a team like the Texans have a really good defense with a good defensive line that can get after the quarterback. Will Anderson has been a beast so far early in the year, and a quarterback who can capitalize on it. The next big game, it's in the NFC North. 4-1 Lions at the 5-0 Vikings. Huge divisional matchup. This will be the second divisional game for the Minnesota Vikings. They beat the Packers earlier this year. Minnesota's favored by 1.5, over under 50.5. I love the under in this game, similar to my thoughts on the Texans versus the Packers. I think both teams will play tight. I think both teams are going to lean on, moving the football, controlling the clock, not letting the other team have the football. The Lions are going to run the ball. They're going to commit to running the ball. Jared Goff has been near perfect the last 2 games. 2 games ago, he was perfect. Last week, he was almost perfect. He's been on fire. I love the Lions in this spot. I get the better team, in my opinion, with the deeper roster, with the better offensive line. I know Aiden Hutchinson is missing, but I love all of the weapons the Lions have. And right now, I just love the way they're gelling. Jordan Addison comes back for the Vikings. That's good. But will that throw them off a little bit? How cohesive will they be as a unit? I think this is the Lions rising to the top of the NFC. I think the Vikings are very good. I think the Vikings are going to continue to win games. If you look at the Vikings schedule after this game, there's a ton of winnable games for them. I think the Lions get them at home in a really close, tight game. Again, lower scoring. 50.5 is too high. Brian Flores' defense is not going to give up 30 points at home. The Lions are going to control the clock and I think force Darnold into at least one bad play. So I think this is lower scoring, physical, knockdown, drag out, 23-20. Again, lower scoring game for the Lions to win on the road. I like the Lions. I love that offensive line. I love their weapons. Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams coming in strong, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. They'll lean on that and they'll get a win and start to separate from the rest of the NFC with a win in Minnesota. 5-0 Chiefs, they are at the 3-3 Niners. The Niners are favored by 1.5, over under 46.5. This is the rare game I actually like the over in. I think the Niners will be able to score on a really good Chiefs defense because they're at home. Brock Purdy's been had kind of an up and down season. 2 weeks ago, really bad performance. Maybe his worst as a starter from as a complete game. But last week, he absolutely balled out. The Chiefs defense is no joke. These teams know each other. You'd think AFC versus NFC opponent. They don't know each other. They're familiar with each other. Andy Reid off a bye. I love that I get Andy Reid off a bye and the better quarterback, the Super Bowl champs, and they are underdogs. I love the Chiefs and the points. I'll take the Chiefs plus 1.5. I'm going to take the over on this. I think the Chiefs win in a really entertaining, really back and forth slugfest of a game. Mahomes has the ball late, 24-24, leads his team into field goal position for Harrison Butker to win the game. I'll take the over. I will take the Chiefs with 1.5. I think the way the Chiefs lose this game is they just don't have enough guys step up to help, right? Juju Smith-Schuster, if he turtles. If Xavier Worthy looks overwhelmed by that, by the looks of the San Francisco defense. If the tackles, the Chiefs have a little bit of a tackle issue offensively. If they can't give Patrick Mahomes that extra half a second against Bosa and the good defensive line in front seven from the Niners. That's how the Niners win this game. And if the Niners win this game, I think they win it in a 24-17 and they're up 24-10 and maybe the Chiefs score late. If they win it, it's going to look more like that, where they just absolutely overwhelm the Chiefs offense. I don't think that's going to happen. Andy Reid off a bye is electric. He's too good. And I get Patrick Mahomes as an underdog. I know it's against a really good Niners team that is coming off a huge win with extra time to rest as well after being played last Thursday. But I like the Chiefs plus 1.5. So those are my picks on the three biggest games. I'm taking the Texans plus 2.5. I'm taking the Lions plus 1.5. I'm taking the Chiefs plus 1.5. Yes, I'm taking all three road teams to win. Is that going to bite me in the butt? Probably one of those teams will end up losing, but I like the road underdogs. I just think they're the better teams just because they're on the road. Swallow the points. Trust your gut on that. The other bets that I like for this week, not looking at the big games, but I think there's some value. The rest of the week is kind of a yucky slate. They have three great games. A nice Monday Night Football game with the Ravens and the Bucs. But for the rest of the week, I like the Bucs plus 3.5 at home against Baltimore. Baltimore's the better team, but the Bucs offensively can hang with Baltimore. Baltimore's defense does not scare me. The Bucs defense certainly doesn't scare me if I'm Baltimore. So I think this is really high scoring. The over is something crazy though, but I just think the Bucs plus 3.5. I think Baltimore may end up winning this game, but it'll be 30-27, right? It's going to be, I get that hook at the half. I'm going to take the Bucs and Baker at the half. Wouldn't shock me if the Bucs win this game though at home primetime. That's going to be the Monday Night Football game to watch. Bills, Titans, over 40.5. It's a low over. Listen, Will Levis played horribly last week. He's not going to play that horribly again. He'll get to 17 points, and the Bills will get to 30 points, and you'll cruise by the over of 40.5. I think it's too low of an over. I like the Bills with Amari Cooper, and I think that Levis will score more and be more efficient He can't be as bad as he was last week. And then finally, Patriots. Give me the Patriots plus 5.5 against the Jaguars in London. I think the Jags win. I think the Jags control the game. I think the score in the fourth quarter is, again, 23-13. And then the Chiefs, the Patriots get a touchdown, 23-20, and it's all said and done. I think Drake May keeps them alive in this game. They scored 21 points on the Texans last week. You're telling me they can't score 20 points on the Jags? I don't think the Jags are getting to 27-30 against a solid defensive unit, and they're just so inept dropping footballs, so incohesive as far as offensively goes. So I'm taking the number then. I think the Jags will win. They're the more desperate team with the more established quarterback, but I like the Patriots plus 5.5. So there you go. There's my best games and best bets of Week 7 in the NFL. Hit me up on social media at Mark Hespin. Let me know your favorite bets. And let's have some fun this weekend. Also, Texas over Georgia.